Okay mate, so I'm going to show you how to first of all load the brushes to Photoshop. So I've got the example of a brush here saved to my computer. So what I need to do from here is add it to the brushes folder in Photoshop. So I'm going to open up the computer there and find the folder. So it's in my program files under the x86 one. Then I find Adobe, which is up here for Photoshop. Then I go into Photoshop, and then I go into presets, and then I find brushes, and now I'm in my brushes folder. So I found that, it's all good. Now I'm going to grab my brush, which I've downloaded, and I'm going to drag that into the brushes box. Just asking for administrator rights. Yep, I've got that. Okay. So that's now added. So I've got a new brush added into my brushes folder, and that's all in Photoshop brushes. So it's saved in there. So from there, you need to then load it into the program. So I go on to Photoshop now. So I need to have my brushes selected. So I've got the brushes tool selected over here. And then I go up to brushes up the top here. Little drop down arrow, open that up, and that brings them all up. And then there's a little arrow with a circle. Click on that, and it's going to bring up a whole different options for you. And you want to go down to load brushes from there. And I'm in my brushes box already, so I've used it before. So now I'm going to look for the brush I've just gotten, and that's down here. And then I'm going to go load that brush, and it's now loaded into Photoshop. Now to find it, when I go up the options there to see all my different brushes, I can scroll down, and these are all my different brushes I've got here. So here's my newest ones right at the very bottom. So if I click on one of those, and I go over onto the screen, you see it's a massive big box. One click, and that's that brush. So the brush has made this paint effect. So that's added that to there straight away. And then it's given me a few different ones there, so I can always go back up to edit, go step backwards there, and then I'll remove it. And then I can go back up to the brushes up here, choose a drop down box, and now I can choose a different one. Now I can show you some of the ones I've given you, give you an example of how they're going to look. So here's one of them. So if I click on now, what I want to do, so I can just remove that paintbrush or just edit that paintbrush alone, you got your background layer down the bottom here. Down here, there's a box here that you can click on. Down here, and this is an option there to create a new layer. So I've added a new layer there. So now this layer is selected, I'm working on this top layer. So if I go back here and I can do one click with this brush, and it's added all these dots. So you see them all there. Now it's on the layer one only, so I can click on that, make it disappear, click on it again, and it reappears. So I'm just playing with that layer now. Now if I want to change the size of this one brush I've put on there, if I go to the edit option, I go down to free form, click on that, and it's now highlighted. You can see the boxes around that. So if I drag the arrow, it's going to stretch it out that way. If I put the arrow here, it's going to stretch it up this way, and then stretch it down this way. And if I put it on over a corner, I can turn it any way you want. There you go. And if I just go back up to here and click on this button here, it'll then ask me, do I want to apply the changes I just made then, go apply, and now this layer, and now this shape. Now if you want to play around with that a little bit more, you can stretch it and make it bigger. You can click on it again and hit multiple times and do multiple shapes on there if you wanted that. Depends how you want to use the paintbrush really. And then if you want to like take bits out, you can then go on to the eraser tool. There's that one there. And then the brush I've got here is a little round dot. I can make the dot bigger depending on what I need. So I made a big dot there, and I can just like erase the bits of it I want out of there. So if you only want a special shape, and do that. So that's pretty much how it works. And you can do them in any colour you want. So I've got it done in black. If I change the colour, so I'll do a red one. If we go back up to paintbrush again, there you go, there's some red ones. So you can do them any colour you want and resize it how you want there by using the freeform tool. Just be careful with the layering, just make sure you have a layer for each time you use a paintbrush there, so you know you're not all on the one thing, so you don't changing the size of everything in one go, and hopefully that'll work for you, mate. You get stuck at all, let me know, but hopefully that should give you something to work with.